This is the alternate method for doing a truth table. I have flipped back to page 2 in the notes, and I'm going to rework this problem. If P, then Q, and not P. Like I said in the main video, this can be confusing. If it doesn't make sense to you, if you keep finding that you're making mistakes, don't use it. But if it makes sense to you and you want to use it, you are free to. What I'm going to do is, instead of building up piece by piece, I'm just going to write this kind of spread out here. So I have if P, then Q, and not P. Okay? Now, underneath each of these, I'm going to write down my truth values. So it's going to look a bit like the problems we did where we were given P is true, Q is false, or so on and so forth. It's just we're going to do all the cases at once. Okay? So I'm going to, for my P values, I'm just going to copy these underneath here. My Q values, I'm going to copy underneath Q. And not P, I'm going to do that part as well. So false, false, true, and true. Okay. Now I do need to figure out the parentheses before I do the and. So in here, I'm just going to ignore this part and I'm going to do this conditional. If true, then true, that is true. If true, then false, that's false. If false, then false. Well, no, if false, then true, that one is true. If false, then false, that one is true as well. Okay, so now right here, I have the truth value for the set of parentheses. And now I want to AND this with this. Okay, so I have true and false, which is false. False and false, which is false. True and true is true. True and true is true. This column right here is your answer. If you look at what we did previously, you can see that we've done the same things. We just wrote it all together. This column right here is here. This column is right here. And then right here, we have it under the AND. Now let's go on to this one that is more difficult. I'm going to do the same thing though. I'm going to write it large, and then we're going to go through and do it underneath. So I have not P or R. So if this, then not Q and R. Now our final column is going to be under here because that's going to be the last thing we do. So let's write our P, R, not Q, and R values in here. So not P, well, the not is on the outside, so just P is true, 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 false, 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 and false. My R value is true, false, true, false, true, false, true, and false. Not Q, false, false, true, true, false, false, true, true. And then R is true and false alternating. Okay. Now I'm going to take care of the inside of the parentheses here. I still haven't dealt with this not, but this is an OR statement, so as long as I have a true, the parentheses is going to be true. So this is true, 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 false, true, and false. And here, this is an and. I need both of them to be true in order to be true. false, false, true, false, 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 true, and false. Okay, so I've done all of this part, but I still need the not. So it's not this column right here. Now it might help you, and it may or may not, if you kind of mark off the parts that you've already dealt with. I don't want to do it too much because I want you to be able to see it. But if you've used it and you're not going to use the column again, you could lightly mark through it if it helps you. It's up to you. But I have not this column. So false, 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 true, false, true. Okay, so now for this statement, I'm using this column because that's the answer to the whole first part right here. Right here, the answer to this whole set of parentheses is right here. So when I do the conditional, I'm looking at if false, then false. Remember, if your first statement is false on a conditional, the statement is true. So we can quickly go through this. I'll have to check that one, not that one, I'll have to check that one. So I have if true, then false. That one is false. And if true, then false. This one is false. You can compare what we did before to this, and you'll see that we did a lot of the same work. Here's not Q, here's not Q. P or R, we did that right here. The column should be the same. And then we did a not in front of it, which is that column there. We figured out the second column, which we have right here. And then we used the conditional, which is right here. Your answer is right here. And it is up to you which method you wish to use.